how should a conductor beat the tempo? Very important thing. First of all, you have to imagine a flat surface or a plane here in front of your belly. And there we are going to put all the spots of our pattern. It could be 2, 3, 4, or whatever. And when we conduct, we have to hit those spots, of course, bouncing, always important, the weight of the arm, the gravity takes it down, and then you bounce. And from that bouncing in those spots, you produce the impulse to get the sound. This is very, very important. So let's get a 4 pattern, okay, staccato, and let's compare the most common conducting techniques. First of all, starting from Hans Swarovski, very common in Europe and also in United States. So Hans Swarovski would go like this with a very straight baton. I'm going to do it staccato, okay? So I'm going to do 1, 2 on your right, 3 on your left, and 4. Again, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Slightly different with the technique of another great conductor, Sergio Celibidache. The baton is going to be not so straight like this. You can have a grip with the first fingers or also deep in your hand. It's not so important. And with this position in the baton, you go with the spots a little closer. 1, 2, 3, opening the wrist, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This opening the wrist, of course, if you conducting piano, should be smoother because you don't want to get unwanted accents. So, in the Russian style, in the Russian school, by referring to Ilya Musin, things are quite different because, of course, always the spots, always in the flat surface, but we are going to pluck those, hit and pluck those points with a movement in advance. The baton is placed in the Russian style in the bottom of the pinky finger, like this, and then holding it between the thumb and the index. So, like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. As you can see, I reach the spot and then pluck it. Pluck, pluck. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Notice the difference in the Russian style. From 3 to 4, you move upwards. In the other styles, basically from 3 to 4, you go downwards, like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. When we talk about legato, very important also for choir conducting, because voice naturally sings in legato, so we need always a more legato movement when we conduct a choir. Then things are different again from Swarovski and Celibidache would say, and the Russian school. Why that? Because let's say in Swarovski, for instance, we used to turn our hand in order to have a smoother movement and to better connect the different spots, the different points, like this. But in the Russian school, which actually prefers the bare hand, especially in this case, and why? Because they like to say that the sound must be grabbed from underneath and taken from one place to the other, like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4, or even pushing 1, 2, 3, and 4. Imagine to have a very heavy iron ball in your hand, and so you cannot move very quick and very fast. You have to struggle in order to move this very heavy ball from one spot to the other. Very useful, this movement, for example, strings passages, when they have to play with the very heavy bow, very intensely, and so this is really helpful for the orchestra in order to say, just push it and keep it down to the string, keep it down, don't jump, just keep it down. So this is a big difference between the Russian school and the others. Of course, I have to mention another great conductor, Carlos Kleiber. He had such a wonderful but peculiar and personal style that it's really hard to say we can learn conducting from this technique. But it's so interesting, and he was such a great conductor that we have to, my suggestion is, go to see some videos, some concertos conducted by Kleiber, and try to analyze and understand the reasons why he moves like that. He very often didn't actually subdivide, didn't beat the tempo. He always was so smooth and with circular movements, but it's really amazingly interesting. Just an example, grabbing the baton always like this with 3 fingers, very lightly, without grip. And for instance, from the Federmaus, a very soft phrase like this, you would go probably like it's really, we cannot say this is a basic technique in order to learn how to conduct, but it's amazingly interesting to watch and to understand why he does that. So in the end, what is the best technique? It doesn't exist such a thing, in my personal opinion. Every different technique has good things and maybe not so good things. And my personal suggestion is try to learn from every one of these and maybe also other conducting techniques, and then you have to create the best techniques for you, which is your own style. That will always be your best choice, because you physically are different from any other man on this or woman on this planet. You have a longer or shorter arm, you have a larger chest, you're taller, you're smaller, so there is no one conducting technique. There's your conducting technique that you have to build, learning from all these and maybe other examples.